Welcome to Habitly Courses, a production of Manage to Win. Each course is divided into multiple lessons for easy viewing. All are now completely free, so you can watch them on your own or work through them as a team. Please subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, and share your favorite lessons with others. Try to find something that helps you be your best.
Hello, this is David Russell, and we are talking about character counts. This is the final lesson, which is lesson 6, developing these character habits, and it just gives you some ideas on how to do this. Not the only way to do it, but it's some good ideas on how to do it. And then we move into some scenarios and games where you can kind of test the things that we've learned. What I want to remind you is all character is learned, and so if you want to change, you've got to make a commitment. And I'm going to just focus on 7 areas where you might want to work on more consistently demonstrating integrity. And so this means we want to work on your heart, your emotions, the words you speak, and the actions you take. So it's kind of a full body, full heart, full mind emphasis to change here. The first habit has to do with relationships. And I mean, the bottom line here is that you are affected by the people you hang out with. And if you hang out with people with bad character, you're going to develop habits of bad character. That's in your workplace and that's in your personal life. So don't think you can go out and hang out with people that have bad character in your personal life and then come in and demonstrate consistently good character in your workplace. It makes it very difficult. So this is kind of a whole life commitment. So the lesson here is only work and hang out with people of good character. You want to be a role model for them. They can be a role model for you. It's going to work much better for you. I mean, and I've raised 3 kids. Our biological kids at this time are 33, 30, and 28. We had another boy who lived with us from 10 to 18. He's 25 now. That was more like guardianship. And then we adopted 4 young kids over 5 years ago, a sibling group, 3 girls and a boy. And I can tell you with kids, I mean, really, as I talk with other parents and they ask me for advice, I always say, you know, one of the most important things you need to do is you need to control who they hang out with. And you need to do that. Otherwise, they're going to pick up on bad habits. And sometimes those decisions are very difficult because you'd like to be a good role model for this other child, or the other child seems nice, but there's some issues going on there, and your child only can handle so much. And so do we say you can never talk to that person? No, we don't. But do we allow them to develop close friendships? No. I do remember when I was growing up, I was hanging out with a boy who was a year older than me, and I don't know how old I was, probably around 10, maybe 12, I don't know. But I remember one day I came back from visiting with that boy, and my parents said, you can't go play with him anymore. And I said, why? And they said, I'm sorry. There's just some things, the way he behaves, we don't want you to behave that way, so you're not going to spend time with him anymore. And I didn't. Never saw him again. I'm 59 now. And I was, as I say, I think I was maybe 10 or 12 then. Been a long time. So sometimes you got to make that hard decision. Habit number 2, role model. So as leaders, we are role models of good character at all times, whether we like it or not. Can't be any double standards, one for other people that's higher than what we hold ourselves to, and then another for the leaders. Now, if you're a leader formally by title, then this is a big burden. But quite frankly, everybody in your organization needs to be a leader, and everybody needs to be a good model for character, good character. So the lesson here is lead intentionally. As I mentioned, you have to make some decisions that are difficult, but you want to work diligently to demonstrate good character in every word you speak and every action you take. That's habit number 2. Habit number 3 has to do with the baseline. So we talked about this in the earlier lesson, lesson 5. But I would suggest you take 30 to 60 minutes to assess the facts about the character you have demonstrated this year through your words and actions. You can do a simple Ben Franklin list. Ben Franklin, famous inventor, and early founder of America, one of them. Basically, 2 columns on a piece of paper. You just divide a paper in 2 columns. On the left column is poor, for poor behavior. On the right column is good, good behavior. And you just make a list. So where have I demonstrated poor character or character that could be better in the left column? And on the right column, where have I demonstrated good character? Now I've got a little bit of a baseline. And you can use the areas, the 7 areas I gave you before in lesson 5 as kind of reminders. What do you want to think of? But then you've got a baseline. Where do I want to go from here? I know where I am today. Where do I want to go from here? And by the way, if you really want to put yourself to the test, take that list and bring it to people who will be candid with you about how they feel you have behaved in the area of character. Not people who are going to say, oh, I think you're wonderful, and they don't have the guts to point out where you've made some mistakes. Okay? Bring it to people who will be candid with you. And you can then once you got this list, then say, okay, what's one thing I can do now? What's one thing I can start today to become more of a person of good character? Go with that. Habit number 4, serve. People of good character are humble. Identify one leader who consistently demonstrates good character. I'm not talking about flawless. Perfect can mean without flaw, or it can mean complete. But they are a person of integrity who's sincere and humble, and you may not even know them. But find a way to sincerely serve that person and their cause. This enables you to learn from them and possibly develop a friendship based on mutual interest. I can tell you, years ago, I mean literally, might be 20 years ago now, I was in a small group with 3 other couples, and I wanted to get to know one of those guys. He was a leader. And I asked if we could play racquetball sometime. He said, well, his racquetball schedule was full. Now, I was in a couples group with this guy for 2 to 3 years, okay? He wouldn't make time for me in his racquetball schedule. I stopped by his office one time, tried to, chit-chat, develop a friendship. I didn't know how to develop a friendship with him. He went on to be a very successful leader, and it took me about 20 years, literally. I mean, so it's been longer than that, probably. Actually, it has been. It's been 30 years, I think, since we were in that 28 to 30 years since we've been in that study. But it took me about 20 years, I think, to figure it out. If I had gone and served him he worked for a nonprofit. If I had gone and served him in that nonprofit and helped him and developed a relationship that way, we probably would have developed a really strong relationship. I just didn't know how to develop that. And he obviously had a full schedule, so he had plenty of stuff on his plate, and for whatever reason, didn't share my interest in developing the relationship. But it would have been different. Even if we didn't develop a close relationship, I would have learned from him and worked more closely with him. So that's what I'm suggesting you do. The lesson here is sincerely serve others to develop your character. And you, as part of those others, you may choose one person who has some attributes that you would like to learn and figure out how to serve that person. Okay? And I mean sincerely. All right, number 5, pause. You've heard this before in this training. Often words and actions of poor character occur quickly based on fear. Pause to think about what you want to say or do before responding or reacting. That's responding, but without the thought part of responding, and taking action. Consider how others would respond to your behavior if it was reported on the front page of your local newspaper tomorrow morning. What would your spouse say? What would your best friend say? What would some advisors say if they witnessed what you were about to do? So the lesson here is that good character is intentional. You need to pause to consider the character you're about to demonstrate before speaking or taking actions. Whether we like it or not, other people are going to observe what we do and judge it. And if we're a leader, we're a role model. The pause or a longer delay is often very reasonable to more fully consider the ramifications of our behavior. So learn to pause. That's habit number 5. Habit number 6 is judgment. The only person you have full control of is yourself. Avoid judging others as best you can. Now, you have to judge people a little bit, right? You got to decide how close you want to get to them, how candid you're going to be with them. Are they capable? Other things. But really where our effort needs to go is on developing and sustaining our own integrity. When you limit the judging of others and you don't get involved in gossiping and that type of thing, you're going to avoid bad decisions. You're going to avoid unethical people and risky decisions. So try to balance positive reinforcement of your good decisions with encouragement to improve when mistakes are made. Everybody makes mistakes. And the lesson here is judgmental people are poor role models. People of good character are inspiring and set encouraging standards for others to join. Strengthening your own character has a much higher ROI than spending excessive time negatively judging others. Just don't want to go there. And last but not least, habit number 7 is accountability. So who's going to hold you accountable to demonstrating good character more consistently? I'm giving you 5 areas where you can hold yourself accountable. You've seen this before in this training. But before speaking or acting, ask yourself, humility, is my behavior humble? Integrity, is my decision moral? Energy, do my actions increase the energies of others or am I dragging them down? Inspiration, do I inspire others to achieve more? Or am I, ruining their passion? Am I taking away from their passion? Wisdom, will my decisions seem wise in the future? So you've got these 7 potential habits to develop. They involve relationships, being a role model, the baseline of where you're starting today, serving others, pausing before speaking or acting, judgment, and accountability. So I recommend you work on these, apply things, consider things from your current job and maybe even personal life. Discuss it as a group. Where are there opportunities for you to demonstrate character? This will make a difference in your career and also in your personal life. This is the conclusion of Lesson 6. Bye for now.